Welcome to Dragon's Tome, episode 190, issue 190, coincidentally, of Dragon Magazine. We're going through everyone chronologically. We made it to February 1993. My name is Rob.
And I'm Jack.
And I'm Chopper.
And we're here to talk about this said episode. And we got Kevin Ward did this cover. It's a nice Viking getting attacked by a sea serpent. Viking longship. And he titled it Ocean Cruise. But it doesn't look safe. That's a lot of heavy waves and just a sea serpent's tail.
It's a big boat for 3 people.
That's all that's lived.
That's all that's left.
Yeah. The rest of
Sorry,
deed.
something went wrong.
Something went wrong? What went wrong?
The boat. It's the boat talking.
Guys, I'm not the only one hearing that, right?
Wow.
Okay. At least it wasn't me smacking my mic.
No, it wasn't a gunk. It was my my automaton companion asking for her freedom, and I'm sorry, I can't.
Something went wrong. Why am I still tied up? That's what even the dogs don't agree with that. We're getting there. This is the last episode. We're doing this.
Let's go, people. We just started. We can push through.
We can push through. Anything else to say about the there is a sea serpent head. It's up there. I just saw it up there by the sea serpent head on the mast.
Yeah, I like how it does like a camera where it's blurry up front, and then because of the distance, it's the focus is back there. So it's very, very well done.
I think the sea serpent thought this was
Oh, it's a mating.
another sea serpent.
Yeah,
and
it's getting a little frisky.
Kissy time.
It's getting some lovin', sweet lovin'. That makes sense. Let's go to articles on that note. We'll start with Jack. Jack, what's your first article?
Okay, we'll start with me. My first article is going to be page 92.
92. We're jumping right to the back.
We were just talking about a sea serpent making sweet love to a boat, and that's not the kind of humor I appreciate. So we're going to keep it nice and clean by doing unicorns. And there's a lot of different unicorns, including the honeyquine. Now, the honeyquine, that's quite the name of a unicorn.
I'm not sure I like that name.
Yeah, no. Can we go back to the sea serpent mounting a boat? Because there's something. Okay, so yes, other than some unconventional naming of a unicorn that you would think is from a romance novel, we have basically they've taken one for one horses that exist, horses and horse-like creatures that exist in nature, and then just slapped a
Horn
horn on them.
That's right.
So you're gonna get the black
The
unicorn.
Palomino unicorn is the one that killed me. I was like, really? A Palomino horse?
Oh, the Palomino, yeah.
Yeah. What was
So-
that? Hidalgo to the unicorn?
Taco. What about
You know-
Pinto? Does it explode when people ram into it?
Or the Palomino, does it go into a black hole when it has to?
Nice.
Because that was the name of the ship in Black Hole. That
You'd have to explain
It
it.
was. The Cygnus. The Cygnus was the big one.
Yes. So that we've got the sea unicorn, which is just a narwhal. We have the
A zebra corn? Come on.
the zebra corn, which is a zebra, which that's not even a horse, but hey.
You can't ride zebras. Their backs would break if you tried to ride them.
The well-known gray unicorn. He's just gray.
Never bet on a gray horse, I've been told.
Never bet on a gray horse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. That's Rob's Kentucky Derby Anyways,
Folks
the
with
only
me.
thing of note here that I would say, other than the name
He
Honeyquine,
just wants to say it
again,
again.
uh, uh, is the Quimicorn. No, wait, I just made that one up. The Unisys is the Unicorn Pegasus.
Mm.
So that is the final one, and that's the only one that really needs any kind of attention because it has been on promotional. Like everyone's seen a Pegasus unicorn on the front of, you know, D&D books and stuff like that. It never existed until right here. Michael John Weibo has the second has rectified something that needed to be done because I've seen so many Pegasi with a unicorn horn. It seems like one of those things like dragon and worm, where it's like, how many legs does that dragon have? Why does that unicorn have wings? Why does that Pegasus have a horn? So there you go.
They could have called it a porn.
Uh, Considering they called one, what was it, a Cunnyquine? I think a porn probably right up there with the.
I'm just
I
trying to figure out what
wouldn't
that because it's equine at the end, obviously. But what's the first part? Where is that coming from? I tried to read the description; it doesn't make much sense. And is that name of a horse or something that I'm just missing, or I don't know. I just don't know anymore.
It's a Cunnyquine linguistical anomaly.
Mm. You had to go there.
What?
You're an alicorn. What's an alicorn? Is it an alligator?
No, acorn and unicorn.
Like an acorn from a tree?
Yeah.
That's funny. You're funny.
No, it's not. But anyways, yes. If you want a narwhal, there's a narwhal. If you want a zebra unicorn, there's a zebra unicorn. But that's it. That is it for my first article.
Okay, Patrick, what's your first article?
Page 18.
Oh, yeah, for a second I thought you stole mine, but then you did steal mine. Bastard.
Deep beneath the waves.
Oh, I before you go on, you didn't actually steal mine because mine is about the in memoriam, about the guy who wrote this. So, right at the top of this article it's Brian K. Bernstein. They have an in memoriam, and I was like, oh, poor guy died somehow. But it's he died while en route to University of Las Vegas with his girlfriend, and they were murdered. I was like, what the fuck? So I looked it up, and this is a harrowing, horrible, horrible story. And I'm not going to describe it because it's bad, but yeah, him and his wife were murdered on the highway after writing this article, and they were robbed and killed.
You know which highway?
I'm sure it was in there, but I didn't look. I don't know any names of highways. It was in. It was outside of Yuma, Arizona. That's where it was. And yeah, they were killed at a rest stop, and the account was very horrible. And don't look it up if you really want to know about it, but generally it was just terrible. And yeah, the moment I saw in memoriam and he was murdered, I was like, oh, look it up, and I was able to find it because it's not normal. Let's just say that. So
pretty bad.
Yeah, real bad.
Well, R.I.P. Brian Bernstein. We will try and do proud your article.
So I'm actually glad you're talking about the article because I just wanted to talk about him being murdered. So it's good.
Yeah. So while Mr. Bernstein, then R.I.P., he had a great idea of having an underwater campaign, but he also, I think, might have been a scuba diver because he takes a very realistic approach to underwater adventuring in itself. He lists the big four dangers, basic four dangers of an underwater campaign, which are pressure, air, warmth, and light. And so, and thinking to myself, as a underwater campaign, most of these can be kind of explained away with some kind of magic, like with an Atlantis abyss type dome, and then you can use the pressure and the air and the warmth as kind of hazards traveling to and from.
Magic also would get around a lot of this anyways.
Yeah, I mean, like the air part is easily water breathing spell takes care of that easily. But pressure and warmth are still very viable if you're going to stay kind of in a realistic world, or stay in a suspend disbelief. Uh, I think the pressure is not something that can't be handled too much. I'm sure there's some kind of spell that you can force spell that you can use to cast around you, but it shouldn't be something like you can go from sea level to the Marianas Trench without suffering any consequences either.
Without a device, yeah. You have to be in
Yeah.
something. So, yeah, it's
So-
kind of neat. Like 300 feet, you're dead. Like there's no there's no save from the pressure.
Yeah. And so, but he starts to go into nitrogen narcosis and everything, so which I think is a little too much for that sense. But I do like the idea of keeping warmth because as you do go further down, it does get colder, and the pressure as you go further down, the more pressure you get from the amount of water on top of you. The air part, like I said, easily explained by magic, and light. Light reflects differently underwater. You just got to learn how to understand how light reflects underneath the water. If you grew up down there, it's what you know, right? If you are if you're traveling down there for the first time, you're gonna have to compensate. So
Well, it's no different being in a dark dungeon, I guess, right?
yeah,
But
so
I must say that the thing that ruined me for World of Warcraft was the underwater adventure. It was the grueling, most painstaking. It was the worst, and it actually made me stop playing World of Warcraft. Was the underwater adventure? So anytime underwater adventure, I have a visceral hate of underwater adventures because of that. So, but it probably saved me a lot of money because I don't play World of Warcraft anymore. So,
true. He does make a good article on. It goes more into depth of all these things and how to counter. Even has the charts about what could happen with the pressurized gases. But if you got a water breathing spell, you don't need to worry about it, in my opinion.
yeah, well,
and
no matter how
then
realistic you want to play your game. That's always the thing.
Yeah, and then he finishes it off by adding more giant sea creatures, so which are really nice, and they're pretty benign. They're not crazy. They're just tube worms and octopuses.
Well, if you ever watched G.I. Joe when they had to go in the Trent in one of the original miniseries, they had to go. And they had the tube worms, and they were coming at them. It was horrible.
Yep.
Scarred me as a child.
So, but that's it for Mr. Bryan. I mean, he makes some good points, and you can either play it his way, which is ultra realistic, or you can kind of just piecemeal it, like how I was suggesting, and just take the good parts and not really worry about all the crazy scientific parts.
And
Like you said, as a hazard, it's interesting the way you make an encounter or something like that. And also, it's just kind of like those invisible video game walls where you just can't pass. You can just say, okay, well, you have to go here and you have to do this because this. It's it would be world building to be able to set whatever the rules are and then have to follow them through in your world, but so it's consistent.
yeah.
So,
To my only article, because you kind of took this one from me, we're going to go to page 8. It's the editorial, obviously, from Roger E. Moore. He kind of expands on the one he talked about last time. This time he's like, I think of a lot of things and all these hooks I have for games, so I'm just going to throw them out here for you guys to use. So he has a bunch of crazy hooks that he wants to add. He says he thought a lot of them while listening to AC/DC and Black Sabbath, and probably on some kind of medicinal help, because some of these are pretty off the wall. The first one he talks about is an AD&D game that he wanted to do that was it was a fantasy world, but it was invaded by aliens that were taking slaves, and you had to it was almost like Battlefield Earth, but with the AD&D characters. So you're doing like spells and swords versus alien weaponry. He wanted to really try that, where you're trying to like save POWs in camps and stuff. And he also describes where he got the idea. So he was watching a movie about Soviet army in Nazi POW camps in World War II, and he started thinking about what if it was aliens and what if it was in AD&D. And then he does this Gamma World one, which is just the death machines in Gamma World. Then he has a really super evil one that just stays at really far range and just fucks you up for the whole time. So I don't know what the point of that is, because it would just destroy you. He has 2 Ghostbuster ones, which they're both kind of cool. The first one was that the Ghostbusters are on the way back from a mission and they're in their van and they get attacked by undead bikers, kind of like Mad Max style. So they're jumping on the undead bikers, jumping on the thing, trying to rip them apart, and it was just a funny little story. And the other one that was really neat though was it was a D-Day of the Dead, he called it, where the Ghostbusters have to get a World War II bomber out of like mothballs to fight an army of undead that is trying to invade. So you have to go bomb them with obviously traps and stuff that you use in Ghostbusters. It was kind of a fun story. Call of Cthulhu, he does like a runaway train adventure where you're on a train. Like there's almost all Call of Cthulhu adventures, you end up on a train. But this one is like all the people controlling the train get killed or get thrown off. So it's a runaway train in the mountains in like Colorado, and you have to fight your way to the front of the train to stop the train. Another one for Call of Cthulhu was deep ones in an alternate dimension in the Bermuda Triangle on ships. Like you're on like almost like what was that movie where you it was like the ship. It was a modern ship. It gets sent back to World War II. Do you remember that movie?
The Manhattan Project.
That was one of them. That was one of them, but that wasn't what I was thinking of.
It was the Nimitz that got sent back in Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Oh. Christ! I was just watching the clip of that when they shot down the Japanese Zero.
That's right.
That was, anyways. It was kind of like that, but it's
Martin
deep.
Sheen was in it.
Yeah, it was a classic movie.
Kurt Douglas was in it.
Anyways, it was kind of like that, but with deep ones. So you're stuck in this alternate dimension with deep ones attacking your ship and stuff. And the last one, once again, it's about a bomber, but this time it's about terrorists. It's a top secret game where terrorists get a bomber and they're about to drop a nuke in Chicago, and you infiltrate the team, and you're stuck on this bomber, and you're trying to try to stop them from nuking Chicago. Yes, Pat?
Is the final countdown?
Final countdown. That's right.
Do.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of fun little stories. There's a few of them that are kind of neat, but. Yeah, just the idea. It's funny that he has this idea of having a fight on a bomber about to drop nukes on U.S. cities. That's very similar to the end of Captain America. So I think he predicted Captain America years ahead of time.
Yeah.
So,
or wasn't that part of the comic book anyways?
No.
Did he fight the Red Skull?
No, not in the comic book. In the comic book, they're strapped to a rocket, I believe, and they got shot off.
Oh yes, it was strapped to a rocket.
Anyways, yeah, Roger has a lot of cool ideas that he was probably high listening to heavy metal thinking of. So it was a nice little. I like it because it's a little. I like the idea of like little ideas to spark your imagination for adventures, and I think he gave quite a few that I think all of them are probably useful to use in some game or other. So it's kind of fun. We back to Jack. I think we're back to
me. Okay, if we could go to page 35, please.
Divide, and conquer.
And counter. How to set up and survive splitting the party by William J.
I almost
White.
did this one.
This is contrary to common belief that you'd never split the party. Splitting the party is verboten, and everyone knows why. It's
half your team is not doing stuff half the time.
Yeah, and when you've decided, oh, we'll go this way, those guys will go that way. It's splitting the party. It's focus, splitting the players' focus. It's splitting the power of the party, and it's splitting the story. Terrible. Mm-hmm. Now we're gonna take that script and we're gonna flip it.
What?
Reverse it. Whatever other things you would do with the script. This is an article about why you would want to break up the party. Things you can do to do it, like why you would want to do it, and in what you want to accomplish, and then how to get your players back together. So in a nutshell, if you wanted to
that was me in a nutshell.
That's nuts, all right. Miming that you're in a nutshell.
You said in a nutshell.
In your mind, like I'm going to yes and this. In your mind,
it's definitely
what nut were you in?
It was definitely pistachio.
Yeah, because then
Really?
you could just reach up
I
to the
thought
edges
I
and
thought I thought this when he was doing this. I was thinking walnut.
Nah, I don't like
Almond cake.
walnuts. Oh, you'd be screwed. Walnuts, you never get no.
but pushing against a wall in a walnut, I kind of like the I don't know the wordplay. You could work with that. Okay,
And you're crazy, so you're a walnut in a walnut.
you're nuts in a wall.
You're pushing
Yeah,
on a wall.
okay.
You're nuts pushing on a wall in a walnut.
Um, so why would you split the party up? He's saying, talking about change of pace, getting people who don't generally role play together like that to interact, especially if story or something. If there's some reason you want these two people, the players or the characters, to interact. So now you've got them separated. There's you could tailor different adventures to the different players that work best, and then you could have that concentric and then coming together like a kind of like two one shots at the same time that help the story, the campaign for those players, where too many people would interfere or it could get all screwy if you didn't have that focus. And then, like I said at the end, you got to keep track of the story, you've got to keep track of the time, and you got to keep track of both in-game time and your players' time. Keep them separated until it's time to bring them back. And when you're done, you got to give them their reunion. And as long as you've gotten a story that didn't isolate anyone, worked out, and your campaign is back on track, your paladin who said he couldn't do this because is back in with the rogue who had to do that because, and if you juggle everything properly, your party's back and you can move on, and it was planned, and you've served the purpose that you would wanted to do.
I guess it'd be alright if you were forced to. Like some players couldn't make it some week, and you can split them for that reason. But
Well, or you could have a group that just decides to split up every time, like you guys do.
well, the problem is it's some people don't get to play. They just sit around and do nothing.
No, I'm talking about when we play Cthulhu.
Uh,
You guys
Call-
are always off in the Jews.
Yeah, Call of Cthulhu is different though because you're not going out to fight. You're probably investigating. You're just finding clues and then meeting back up, right? Like you're not splitting at the parts where you're going to have a big final battle. You're splitting at the parts where you just want to get all the information as quick as possible.
And you're skilled enough to storyteller to get both
And I think
parties entertained, and
the players are also experienced enough to be like, okay, now's our time to listen, and they can, you don't have somebody just starting to play Skittles on the table while you're. Remember Skittles?
Skittles.
Yes. Anyways,
Isn't that another name for tiddlywinks?
I think so.
Skittles.
I think so. It's like the
Okay.
British version.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Or is Skittles bowling?
Oh, there's that. Is it Skittles? I don't remember.
Skittles are
Anymore.
candy.
I don't know.
I don't know anymore.
Rob's wild today. He's inside nuts. He's playing games that we vaguely know that sound Eurocentric.
Candy, Jacks. But yeah, I would never split the party in a D&D game. That is the crazy talk. We've done it in Jack's game where we had two parties that were doing things consecutively, but that was just two different adventures that happened to be happening at the same time. They never knew each other.
Right. Which is another way of doing the same thing. But, yep. So that was my article.
Good article. Patrick, do you have any more articles?
I do. Let's go to page 28.
That's a weird looking monster.
The ecology of the. I'm going to try and pronounce this. Achaeon.
Yep, I give that.
Yeah. So this is a little story. Basically, the Achaeon itself is kind of a mythological creature. It doesn't have any real roots in the there's just like smattering of talkings of this thing throughout real world myths and stuff. But in this article, it uses it as a forest guardian, basically. Looks like a giant elk standing up, muscular. It suggests in this article that you can use it as a forest god if you wanted to.
Like Hearn.
Yeah. But for the most part, it's a giant forest guardian who's armed with spears, fairly tough. And it has the ability to area polymorph with the green mist. And it instinctually knows which people are going to be permanently affected by the polymorph and which are temporarily. Because in the story, he polymorphs a party of thieves and fighters and a magic user, and he picks the magic user and takes them out of the forest, while the other ones are just polymorphed into squirrels permanently. But the magic user was proud enough that he knows that he's going to change eventually back, so I'm going to take him out of the forest, put him somewhere else. So, but other than just being a really strong kind of fighter type, DD in the I'm going to use DD for lack of a better term. It's basically just a giant force spears that takes a certain amount. You can use it as a protector of a sacred tree if you want, things like that. But unlike the unfortunate end is that it doesn't give you any stats for it.
Yeah, I was just thinking I wanted to see what his alignment was, but it seems like he's kind of neutral.
Yeah, he's more.
He's not doing it. He's protecting the environment. He's not trying to do it to be a jerk.
Yeah. So, but I thought the story was kind of cool. A druid knew that the thieves were trying to find a sacred tree whose wood was prized for magical staves. So his party was trying to get to chop the tree down. The druid couldn't fight it. Couldn't fight them all by himself, so he went and found the Atherton in his glade and enlisted his help to help fight the guys off, and he smacked some guys around and then polymorphed a whole bunch of people. I guess I think they can only do it once a day, so they try and save it for a giant group of people.
Yep, that's always good. You don't want to waste your polymorph on one dude.
No. But the story itself was pretty nice, and so as far as an ecology goes, it was okay. It doesn't give you too much information on it. It's very open-ended in a sense. Not like the other ones where they have some kind of.
It's almost unknowable. This thing.
Yeah, is this thing even in the Monsters Compendium?
No, I don't think so. Historical background: it said there was a human named Actaeon in Greek mythology who saw Artemis swimming naked, so she turned him into a stag, and then her hounds killed him. So that's not much of anything. But he said a similar creature is Herne the Hunter in Celtic mythology, and it's also in Robin of Sherwood, the TV show. That's how he's kind of based it on that guy. So I don't know why he called it Actaeon and not Herne, because I guess Herne is probably already in there somewhere. He definitely used to be in the old D's and Gambit guides, but it is pretty much Herne.
Yeah. So. But this is like Herne is a person. This is a
type of.
So I could see why you couldn't call him. Yeah,
I guess so.
Apparently he shows up in the Monsters Manual.
Oh yeah,
not in the Monsters Compendium.
So he was around before then.
I never had the Monsters Manual, so I didn't know. But it looks like he is neutral, like you said.
Yeah, he seemed it. Yeah, so. It's an interesting thing. I do like how he kind of leaves it to the end, the writer, that use him like Herne was in the Robin of Sherwood, where he's kind of he interacts with Robin as the protector of Sherwood Forest, kind of. Like, I don't know if you ever watched that TV show. He would just show up randomly, and he was just kind of be an enigmatic creature that would show up and kind of point Robin the right ways. So you could definitely use him that way to be more of a guardian of the forest. If you're playing a ranger or a druid, maybe work together and do stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
All right, that's my article.
Jack, I assume you have none left?
I'm done.
I am also done. Pat, do you have any others?
I do. It's not even going to be very long.
Okay.
I just thought I'd make a mention of it because of my background. 86. Sounds of
Yeah.
wonder and delight.
I thought for sure you'd take this one. Yeah.
Music, yeah, just musical instruments. I mean, these are all real world instruments. So if you have any interest of Middle Eastern Middle Eastern instruments, what this does is it makes them magical. Not, but it goes into describing the basis, like the bouzouki is more like the more European lute, and then the mizwid is the Middle Eastern version of Scottish bagpipes and things like that.
That definitely looks like
uses
a
high-
sheep's stomach.
Yeah. So, but then it's just I just read through it just because I'm a musician by trade from back in the day, and these just caught my eye. And I mean, it's D&D. You can make almost anything magical if you wanted to.
Yep. And it's
since
good.
We're really pushing Al-Qadim. It's nice that they threw in some.
Yeah, if
instruments here.
you're not familiar with Arabic musical instruments, this really helps to help the setting. Even if you're not using magical versions, you'd be like, well, you can describe these things and be like, oh, that's.
If you want to be one of those worthless
D&D
Arabic bards, Arabic bards,
There you go. I don't even know if I wonder if Al-Qadim had bards.
run, fly on a magic carpet, singing a whole new world.
Woo.
It's a small world after all.
Wrong song. No better articles anymore, right, guys?
Yeah, that was just a quick touch because it had instruments in it.
Let's go for ads. Who's got the first ad? Jack, because you always have one ad.
I only have one.
I only have one.
Page 2, please.
Page Duo. I knew you'd take this one.
Dose of the PDF. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, second edition. Big news for fans of Little People. I'm a fan of Little People.
That's Jack. It's speaking right to you.
Yeah. I'm just a little guy.
He's just a little guy.
I'm just a little guy. The complete book of gnomes and halflings, the handbook. Now, this splat book, I could have sworn there's already been gnomes and halflings. They're individual splat books. I'm pretty sure I have one of them.
I think you're Mandela affecting it. I believe this is the only one that has them both.
Really?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought I had one that was just the one, but here it is. If you want to play just a little guy, the splat book for the second edition, rules and supplement, and this and the Rogue's book, those two splat books, that was all I needed. If we want to play D&D, and you're gonna let me play whatever I want, I'm good to go.
He is good to go. It's going to be a gnome thief every single time.
Yeah. Gnomes are pretty awesome.
I played a gnome once.
Yeah, the last time I played D&D, I was a dwarf fighter, and I enjoyed it. But
You had a dwarf clerk too, if I remember. They got lightning bolted right down the middle of a few.
oh,
pile
that
of
was
pews.
okay. Yeah, now I'm now remembering. I have played a halfling thief in the Tomb of Horrors and a human cleric that did get lightning bolted right in his belly. As he begged everyone, stop touching stuff, stop, I'm dying, and then the explosion happened because people decided that they were gonna.
I lived.
Yeah.
I lived. I left, but I lived.
I don't think that me as a player or that character, I don't think he even said one word before he was killed.
No, they didn't have much chance.
No.
That's just a big puzzle, that whole game. So, Pat, what's your only ad?
Marlene on the 63.
This is mine. God damn it.
Creative campaigning. What? I don't remember this book at all.
Yeah, I think this is like a D&D or DM supplement where you're trying to helps you create campaigns. And I sort of remember it, but I don't really remember it.
Didn't need it.
Yeah, I think that's one of those ones where you're like, I don't need this. It's just 108 pages of how you can make your players get back into being excited about your adventures with all these whatever secrets are within. If you had the creative campaign book, please tell us what was in it and if it was worth the cash. I think these are $15 each. These ones. So, yeah, it's another one of those blue books where it's just like, yeah, there's a lot of these books. There is a lot of these books. And anything else to say about it, Pat? I have nothing else to say about it.
I don't say about it. I didn't know what this was. Never seen it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I never really knew about it either. New from TSR. So, anything else? Any other ads, Jack? Another ad? Just another little ad, Jack? Little one?
No.
Little ad?
No.
What's your ad?
This was my ad.
Oh, you only had one ad too?
Yep, you stole it. You stole my ad. So that wraps up 190. It was a.
I just did a quick little research. The reason I don't recognize the Gnomes and Halflings handbook there is because the copy that isn't what it looks like when it was sold.
Yeah, I know it had better writing on it.
So you knew. You let me hang.
I knew it existed, but I didn't know it was just the font that you had a problem with.
You just let you flounder.
You didn't think I had a problem with fonts.
I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry, Jack.
Do you not know me?
He has a problem with fondant.
That's the most hurtful thing I've ever heard.
It had nothing to do with the kerning.
The cover had the gnomes in one.
Yeah, weird.
The halflings were written in another, and it had a small picture at the bottom. It was all laid out different. That's the one I had.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
It was for some reason they just showed, maybe it was a pre-production where they're just like, let's just do a normal book.
I need a mock-up for the ad campaign. Yeah.
Well, on that note, that mystery solved. Let us get out of 190. We had some seafaring adventures, and it was a fun time had by no one because I didn't really have a fun time. But we did it. We got through 190. We're gonna go to now 191 next week. We're ever inching to that 200 mark. Can we make it?
The bicentennial episode of the Dragon's Tome.
We'll have big news at that point. Let's just tease something.
Okay. And there may or may not be a giveaway, depending if I can get down to the basement again.
If Pat recovers, we'll have a giveaway. Until that time, I've been Rob.
And I'm Jack.
And now I'm Chopper.
And we'll be back to do it all over again. Like, share, subscribe, like Jack's saying. Comment below. Jack is saying also. And tell us if you had creative campaigning, because we have no clue if it was worth it or what it's like. Is it just a bunch of like what is that, Laura Ibsen or whatever? Just
gibberish. It's just a book of all the dragon articles that we've been talking about that make a better creative campaign. You know what I'm saying?
If not, it's probably a lot of somebody read all those and was like, I'm gonna legally change this just enough so we can get away with it.
It's mine.
But yeah, thank you for.
And if you were trapped inside a nut, which nut would it be?
What nut would be? There you go.
And did we already say our names? I can't remember.
Yes.
No.
My name's Rob. Bye.
I'm Jack.
I'm Chopper again.
Pat's almost asleep. Bye-bye. I don't know what we took this so long. Well, we got it over half an hour. That's all that matters.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We're all very tired here.